So you love podcasts, and you want to listen to more amazing content, but you have no idea what to listen to. And your friends keep telling you about great episodes, yet you can never remember what they told you. Well, here's the answer. Good Pods. It's the social app dedicated to podcasts where your friends, podcast listeners, and favorite podcast hosts all come together to share on their feeds what they recommend and what they listen to. You can connect to others, bookmark episodes, start a conversation about the episode, connect to the hosts, and most importantly, listen to great podcasts right in the Good Pods app. Download Good Pods wherever you get your apps and start sharing with a community that loves to listen. Good Pods. It's where to connect and listen.
Ladies and gentlemen, prepare to witness the greatest happening in sport. Sudden Death Podcasting.
I don't need to teach you to be more like me. I need to teach you to be more like you.
Longtime listener and a huge fan.
Lou, I am tremendous.
And the more I'm plugged from technology and people, the more I can serve people with technology.
What you're standing for with connection, I think it's the key to everything.
You're just an amazing breath of fresh air for sure. Lou, you're a diamond in the rough, my man.
Because for me, if I'm not living high energy, I'm surviving and I want to be thriving.
Get ready to thrive loud with Lou Diamond.
I love it.
Welcome, everyone, to another episode of Thrive Loud with Lou Diamond, connecting you to the most amazing people you will find anywhere on the internet, or more notably in the entire world. We are here today to connect with these incredible individuals, and we've got an interesting story today for those that are thriving in their lives, their businesses, and their passions, because we have two game changers. The first is the CEO and founder of Virtuous VR Gaming, better known as VVRG, who brings over 40 years of experience from the steel fabrication and engineering software industry. This is going to be an interesting story. The other is known for his Hollywood visual effects artistry in blockbuster movies such as the Avengers, Avatar, The Hobbit, and Transformers. You may have seen these movies. Some people I heard have. These two are releasing a brand new video game, virtual reality game, if you would, called DVG Conquering Giants on Oculus and Steam platforms this holiday season. Thrive Loud listeners, two conquering giants in their own right, Bill Issler and Jarom Sidwell. Gentlemen, how are you today?
Fantastic. Thanks for having us.
It's great to be here. Excited.
So this is truly, we've got the best melding of people you could have possibly done here, right? We've got someone with a lifelong series of experience from traditional industries and a very creative individual with very cool graphics and pieces. First, before we start talking about the game, how did the two of you find one another?
Well, I was looking into the VR stuff, and I did Google searches for things related to VR, and I just found immersive history on the Google website, called him up and started the conversation. So Google search worked again.
And Jarom, you took his call?
Yeah. Well, it's funny. He just submitted something to the contact form. It was like, hey, I think I got an idea on how to partner. Call me. And I was like, all right, I'll do it. So we did it. And Bill turned out to be the most awesome man around.
Okay. So good idea, bringing ideas together. Yet both of you were new to something that's a very new and upcoming game. I'm going to talk first to you, Bill, understanding, I guess, what drew you to this space initially and how Virtuous VR Gaming, VVRG, came to be.
Well, the 40 years in the steel industry kind of ended up where I was trying to be able to take advantage of the VR that was going on in construction. Okay. So Microsoft had their HoloLens. That's their AR format, and then started getting into virtual reality. So I think by the end of the company, about 2 years ago when I sold it, I was starting to look at what do I do after using all this technology for fun. And then all of a sudden, putting two together, realizing that VR is going to be the way to attract young people. I started getting into how to attract kids into jobs. Started a company called industrylift.org.
Right.
To get into skilled trade training, putting free games up to let kids experience things. And then from the next step was, wow, this was working so well, we can take it to the next level and have some fun in virtuous games. Let's give it a shot.
Okay, so let's now flip it over a little bit and Jarom, you had an interesting background, obviously, always been in this. As I'm looking behind you, by the way, our viewers can see the very cool graphics and design that's in you. That's something you've been doing your whole life, I gather.
Yeah, well, I it was actually in college where I thought, man, I want to do something that challenged me with with both sides of the brain, and so right after I graduated, I moved to LA and applied for jobs in the visual effects industry because it was technical, it was creative, but it also required a lot of organization. And so it kind of wrapped everything in one nice bucket for me to tackle.
Okay. So now you guys meet, you connect, you put stuff together, and without dragging this on too much here, you came up with a very cool idea for a game that's coming out this year. I want to understand the story of what it's about, how that came to be. Whoever wants to take this, I don't know, Bill, if this is you or Jarom, how you guys came up with the concept.
Well, I'll start off by saying that looking for some creative game that would be enticing, would be challenging, and yet very exciting. And then talking to Jarom, and he came up with the idea, so I'll let him take it away.
Yeah, it was pretty fun. So at Immersive History, we had created ancient Jerusalem from like 2,000 years ago. And we'd work with archaeologists and tour guides and professors and rabbis, and they gave us a bunch of information. We recreated this world. And so when Bill and I had that initial conversation, we were talking about, well, where do you want to go with next? And I said, well, I really want to make this into, take it from a living museum where you can walk around and explore and see stuff to a game where you are that character and you're playing something. And so we set up a simple prototype where we scaled up one of our characters so they were like 12 feet tall, and they just grabbed spears and threw them at you. And when you put the headset on and that spear was coming toward your face, it was like, ah! And from there we thought, all right, that's a great premise to start a game, and let's make a Goliath and David game.
So obviously we have a publishing arm. Obviously here, this game is now called DVG for David versus Goliath, Conquering Giants. Obviously you guys are going to create a theme of many of these games. I see where this is going. One's publishing it, one's developing it. Let's talk about just game development today is challenging across the board. There's many different types of companies, big companies, monster ones out there, and they have their internal teams, and you guys are working together. How has that working relationship been? Let's start with that first.
Well, as far as having the idea and coming to the guy who has the background, the visual arts background, that obviously drew me to him having the know-how to do it. We put together the publishing group, the marketers, and so now it's basically up to Jarom to be able to fulfill. And then all of his testing people he did. Story's amazing what he tells me about how he got this thing to the point of reality.
Well, what's really cool about working with Bill is that, both of us really wanted to create like wholesome, family-friendly games. And so everything kind of comes back to that main pillar, right? Where we want it to be family-friendly, we want it to be fun, we want to avoid like the gore and the violence that's prevalent in some other games. And so when we started down this path, we wanted it to be that. And so everything comes back to that. And so like Bill was saying, we actually, like, the game was too scary at the beginning. When we were playtesting, we had wolves and they start to surround you. And, our 10 and 11-year-old players were kind of getting a little nervous in there when 5 or 6 wolves were surrounding them and they were trying to get them with the sling mechanic, because when you pop that headset on, you become that character and the world around you is so real. Even though it was in that prototype form where it was just simple shapes, we learned some stuff there. And so we dialed back and changed directions so it would be that family friendly.
Are you stepping into the shoes of David as playing the game? Is that really what you're doing?
That's exactly right. Yep. Yeah. And so you get in there and we kind of, David was a young boy, right, when he faced off Goliath. And so everything is a little bit larger than life in there in the game. And so it's kind of funny where the trees or, the grass is even like up to your waist or something like that. And so it's pretty fun.
One day we're going to be able to incorporate these live streams to actually jump into the game and run that feed, but we'll get there in that time. From your experiences in working together, putting this together, I love this whole the family values thing. Bill, talk a little bit more about that, and I guess what that means to you is an importance, because I do agree with you. There's a lot of games out there with a ton of violence, a ton of scary stuff, and as real as it might be, it might not necessarily be to the benefit of others. So that principle, is that an underlying game and focused on all the things that you guys are doing?
Well, since I sold my business, I'm in a mindset of wanting to do something to give back, pay forward, do something that has value, that has impact. And so seeing that there's a lot of competition out there now for all the games that are out there, there's some pretty amazing games, watching the technology, using the realism. And then the games like the Beat Saber, that kind of showed that you can kind of add excitement, you can add energy and calisthenics basically into a game. And I'm thinking that maybe there's something we can do to do something different that's being done out there. And then with David and Goliath, we've got a sling mechanism, which is not a gun. And you're shooting a sling around. The accuracy on getting the sling, we actually had to make it a little easier because it was actually very difficult to get the level where you can actually be proficient with the sling. So we added a slingshot for the for myself, so you can play it in an easier state. But as far as getting something that doesn't have all the violence in it, we thought we'd try to almost look for a new genre, family-friendly games. And there's a whole bunch of them out there. I mean, I mentioned the Beat Saber. There's all kinds of games out there that allow you to be able to do something that's just fun, entertaining, and it's addictive.
Yeah, and I was going to go to that fact because I've had the experience recently. I've gotten to try some. We've had some guests on the show. We had an immersive soccer training tool company called Brazil, where I got to put on the goggles, and I could not believe the 360-degree experience. And I think, obviously, you have relationships here with Oculus, Vive, and Steam, and all of that to actually put that virtual reality in. First of all, how is the partners that you've been working with? How is that interface challenge? Because I know that's actually one of the biggest challenges is to get your virtual reality platform to work comfortably on these other platforms.
Well, technically, on the technical side, I can speak to that. We actually started building for the Oculus platform, and then the prototype, very beginning stages, right? And then as it went down the road, we realized, oh well, this won't work if we want to do it to Vive or put it on Steam, and so we had to kind of back everything up from the prototype and restructure the way that we built the code and databases in order so it could work for all the different and various platforms.
So I love this, by the way. And every time I see these games, it makes me feel older and older. If you could look over my shoulder, I think I have an old Coleco game from a long time ago. I'll let the viewers see that. If you could see it on my shelf over there. There it is, somewhere over there. There it is, right over there. I'll bring it in one day, and that'll be like the text of a little red dot going up and down. But now look where we've come. Can I ask a question for two people in this space? How far away were you from it actually being difficult to tell the difference between the fact that you're in a video game or the fact that you're actually playing maybe possibly real? I saw the most recent version of NBA 2K1 or whatever it was, and I could not tell the difference between real players on the court and what's going on there. We're getting there, are we not?
Yeah.
Bill, I'll let you opine on this.
Well, the idea about having something realism is something that Jarom was talking to me about, is making it a little bit cartoonish, a little bit animated, so that it actually allows you to be able to be more friendly. The kids were not as frightened. I mean, I have a lot of family events where I take the headset to it, and I've got 6-year-old, 8-year-old, 12-year-olds, and they're just having a blast playing with this thing. And we as adults are sitting back there watching them on a big screen when we project it up there. And it's more entertaining for us watching the kids play it. And if it was realism, I think there'd be a little bit more fear involved. So I think it was a choice that Jarom made to do this, and it was toning it down.
Yeah, that's right. From the very beginning, we're going for a more realistic feel, right? Like on Avatar or Avengers, we're trying to make it so you can't tell that there's visual effects at all, right?
Right.
And so that's the direction that we started. And then from that initial prototype where we got some feedback and from additional play testers, we'd bring in private schools or school kids, and they would come play, and we'd get 100 play testers at a time, and they would say, well, that was scary. And we're like, all right. So we dial it back to that cartoony effect, and now it's kind of got these Looney Tunes effects where you hit the wolf and he's like, yokes, and does this over dramatic hurt reaction to it. So
Jarom, you seem to be like many of the characters that you've probably created in your life.
Well, and it's fun, because having run an animation department, right, on some of these big films, you get in there and I mean, the Avengers was so fun because all day, every day, we're like, oh no, Iron Man would stand like this, and we would do all these poses, and because we're trying to mimic real life, we become very animated ourselves in order to do that. Yeah.
I think it's great. And that's true, obviously, Bill, from bringing over your experience in the steel industry over into this space.
Very much so.
Running this business and marketing the product. We'll save it for a plug section here. We'll let everybody know where they can get the game and stuff like that. It's coming out this fall. Totally different challenges as it relates to whether you're delivering a movie or a new business line or communicating that, right? Because there's such a timeliness to that. As two leaders of a company, do you feel that pressure of making that deadline and meeting all the marketing and promotion? I mean, it almost is like launching a movie when it's like a game. I joke about it that there are probably more commercials on the Super Bowl now that are related to video games than there are to movies or new television shows. So is that experience for you guys from that aspect of it one of the bigger challenges in getting the product to market?
Well, having been in the software industry where we had to have deadlines to be able to get updates out for the customers, this was a little bit less pressure because we don't have to get the thing out there until it's good enough, until it hits our values. So we had the luxury of being able to say, let's hold it off until it actually is doing what we want it to do. And so the pressure we kind of put on ourselves, we put deadlines out there for ourselves, but the idea to be able to do something that really affects the people we're trying to play the game for and make an impact, I think was what's much more driving than the dollars.
I like that. I love asking guests that come on the program this question, and we'll go first to you, Jarom, and then we'll go to Bill. You guys, I mean, look like you're having fun every single day, just judging by this quick interview, the energy that both of you have in putting together a fun project. But we all know there are days where things aren't quite kicking on all cylinders.
Sure.
When either one of you is having trouble thriving, what practice do you seek or what individual do you seek out to get back on the thriving track? Jarom, I'll start with you.
That is a great question. And you're right. Game development can be, I mean, just like anything, right? It can be pretty hard and you run into a lot of obstacles. So what I do is I like to just take a step back, kind of remove myself from the situation and have perspective, and just take a deep breath and look back and say, well, look, this is what's happening right now, but look where we were like a month ago, or even 3 days ago, or 6 months ago, and realize how far we've come. And then I just kind of start to run through those processes of, well, how do we get to this point? And usually something comes into my mind of how to get over that hurdle in that moment within a few days. And so it's kind of just removing yourself from that situation, looking at it, and then analyzing how you got there.
Bill, how do you get back on the thriving track?
Well, I'm a very strong optimist, so I have a hard time looking at the negative side of things. So what I do is gather people around me. We start to look at what are the things that could come out of this. I mean, we're in a tough situation right now with the environment we're in right now, and yet this game was designed before that ever happened. And yet right now, because people are quarantined or staying inside, there's a more of a need for this virtual type of an environment to be thriving in. So I kind of take the silver lining look and seeing what good can come out of this. If it's a delay in the schedule, then that means it's going to get better. Right. So always trying to keep the people realizing that I'm not down on you because you're not performing or something's not working the way you want it to do. What is working, and let's see how that can actually be a benefit to us.
I like it. Let's do the plug section of the show. We'll show some of the links here for those watching on LinkedIn or on YouTube. But it always, for the listeners, they need a place to go to when they are listening to the show. So tell us all the places people can find you, the game, DVG, Conquering Giants. We'll put it on the show notes. However, they hear it from you, they're going to know exactly where to go.
Yeah.
Well,
so
website,
go ahead, Bill.
DVGthegame.com is basically where you'll find all our information, contact information, the dates of when we're going to release it. November 23 is going to be the download for the Vive and Steam. And then we're going to have, I think, December 23, we're going to put it on the Quest 2 and on the PSVR.
Awesome. And you guys are on the circuit here. You guys are promoting it, which is great. And obviously getting the word out and looking charming as you both are right here. And one of the things that we love to do in this program is we like to get to know our guests just a little bit more. And this should be very interesting because the next set of questions we like to call Fun Street here on Thrive Loud. Permission for both of you to come down this path with me. Is that okay?
I love fun. Let's do it.
First of all, let's start off. I'm going to go to Bill first and then Jarom because of the question that I'm going to ask. Your all-time favorite movie? Bill, you go first.
Wow. I'm a really I love the classics.
Okay.
Like the Gone with the Wind, the older classics. I've got a friend who watches 300 movies a year, and he's challenged me to start looking at those movies and seeing which ones are really your favorites. So I'm going to hold off for that one.
Okay, you hold out, but Gone with the Wind's not a bad one anyway to put up there. It's only like an all-time top 10 classic. So
yeah. That's my wife's favorite movie, Bill.
Oh wow, there you go.
Yeah,
Jarom, your all-time favorite movie?
It is such a hard question. I love the story that is in Big Fish. The father and the son, the telling of the stories, the realizing what's real and what's maybe a little bit bending the truth. But I just love that relationship between the father and the son, and how he's trying to entertain and bring his son up in a fun way to see beyond maybe reality of what is possible for his life.
It is a great movie. I rewatched it recently, and it was just one of those. I'm like, I forgot how good this movie is.
Yeah.
Before we leave the movie topic, Jarom, favorite movie that you ever worked on?
Whew, that's also another tough one. And I love them for different reasons, but I think the Avengers was the most fun. Probably
because any particular one of the Avengers, because there's so many.
I worked on the first one.
Okay, great.
And so that one was really exciting because you're starting to see all these. That was the beginning of the Marvel universe, right? The cinematic universe, and so you start to see all the characters come together, and you're like, wait, why are Iron Man and Thor fighting? They should be friends, And so as the movies kind of unfolds in front of us. That, as well as just the fact that a childhood dream, like I'm playing with superheroes every day, and I'm on the motion capture stage acting like Iron Man, and or Captain America, and so that was just amazing and a ton of fun.
I'll let you know that I live just outside New York City, and after I saw that movie, the next day I went to work, and I was very glad that Park Avenue and Grand Central was still in one place. Thanks a lot for messing it up. Okay, so now Fun Street. This is the speed round here, and what we'll do is I'll go back and forth. It's kind of like Family Feud, where I ask the questions, but you guys are going to do it individually on your own choice. These are things that pick you up, make you feel good, make you thrive, and it's the first thing that comes to your mind. So don't dwell on it too much. Okay, Bill, a song that lifts you up that you love to hear all the time.
Well, you mentioned "Lift You Up." That my worship song, "You Lift Me Up."
Lift me up. Yeah. All right, Jarom.
Oh man, that one's tough. My dad was we always listened to like the oldies, and so I listened to like surfing songs from the Beach Boys or something like that. And whenever I hear one of those, I'm like, just memories of my dad and just cruising around in his Thunderbird with the sunroof open. Just kind of picks me up a little bit.
Gotcha. The speed, right? He would never do really well in the Family Feud, would he, Bill?
I didn't. That was so low.
The clock would, Bill. Okay, so back to you, Jarom. We'll start with you on this one. A favorite food that's not a dessert?
Oh, lasagna.
Same to you, Bill. Favorite food that's not a dessert?
Filet mignon.
Filet mignon. Favorite dessert, Bill? Favorite?
Creme brulee.
Creme brulee. Jarom, favorite dessert?
Oh, I like peaches and ice cream.
Okay. An activity, Jarom, you wish you did more of?
Hiking.
Bill?
I was a gymnast, so I'd love to be able to get back in the gym and do that.
Bill, an activity you wish you did less of?
Worrying.
Jarom?
Oh, same. I want to copy that answer. That's a great one.
Jarom, if you could snap your fingers and go anywhere in the world, where are you?
Ooh, I loved the Bora Bora, Tahiti area.
Bill?
I just came back from Bora Bora. That was amazing.
That would have been like you both answered at the same time, but that's okay. It's your own interesting. We're not putting it up on the board here. Bill?
With VR, you can go anywhere. Put the headset on. You are there.
There you go. See, I knew that would be a plug here. I was going to say, just put it in there. And that's going to be my last question, more of an opinion one. First of all, it is amazing what these games can do. And not only that, as I mentioned before, I got to see it in action from a training tool in a company that's that, and it's getting to that factor. But these games make it so much fun and enjoyable. As you start to map out the stories the games and the technology, I guess I kind of want to ask you guys, which part of this aspect of the business do you like most as you look at DVG Conquering Giants? Is it the overall direction that the story takes you when you're in the game, the technology itself, or maybe this business that you're in? Which one of those three?
I'm liking the business. I like the idea about what's coming next. What did we do? Who did we impact? What can we do it again?
Yeah. Jarom?
Honestly, I love the gameplay. Like DVG is such an active game, and what I love about virtual reality is that you become the player, and so it's not like traditional console gaming where you're trying to press this and it reacts something. You just do it. You know, you throw that sling, or you dodge the wolf, or you pick up your sheep, whatever. And so all of that is, I just love it. I love it.
Bill Issler, Jarom Sidwell, truly a pleasure to have both of you on the program here on Thrive Loud. Thank you for coming on. DVG Conquering Giants coming out late November, holiday season. Get yourself shopping. Look it up. We'll put all the links in the show notes. Again, thank the two of you for coming on the program. It's been a pleasure. A lot of fun for me too.
That was awesome. Thanks.
And to all our listeners and viewers out there, thank you for joining us. And until next time, keep thriving onward and upward. And remember, be brief, be bright, be gone.
That's awesome.
You've been listening to Thrive Loud with your host, Lou Diamond. Head on over to Spotify, Good Pods, or wherever you get your podcasts, and subscribe and listen to all of our incredible episodes. Follow Lou at Thrive Loud everywhere on social media, and head on over to thriveloud.com to connect directly to Lou and learn how you and your business can thrive loud too. Thanks for listening.